What if the smallest inheritance held the greatest treasure? Alara stood before the shack, its crooked frame groaning under the weight of a gray, merciless sky. The wind bit at her knuckles as she clutched the letter from her parents' will, its words seared into her mind. To our daughter, Alara, we leave the shack on Willow Lane. To our son, Marcus, we leave the mansion on the hill. She hadn't cried at the reading. She hadn't even spoken. But now, alone with the shack's peeling paint and splintered boards, the sting of betrayal clawed at her chest. She and Marcus had grown up as equals, or so she thought. They'd raced through the fields together, shared secrets under starlit skies, and laughed until their sides ached. But the will had drawn a line between them, sharp and unyielding. Marcus got the mansion sprawling, opulent, a monument to their parents' success. Alara got this shack, a forgotten relic on the edge of nowhere. Why? The question gnawed at her as she pushed open the creaking door, the air inside heavy with dust and memories. The interior was worse than she'd imagined. A single room, barely larger than a closet, with a sagging cot and a cracked table. A mouse skittered across the floor, disappearing into the shadows. Alara's heart sank, but she refused to let despair win. She'd always been the stubborn one, the one who'd climbed the tallest tree just to prove she could. If her parents left her this place, there had to be a reason. She'd find it. Days passed, and Alara scoured every inch of the shack. She pried up loose floorboards, tapped walls for hollow spots, and sifted through cobwebs. Nothing. Just dirt and disappointment. Marcus, meanwhile, sent her a photo of himself lounging in the mansion's marble foyer, a smug grin on his face. "Come visit," he texted. "Plenty of room." The words felt like a slap. She didn't reply. One evening, as rain battered the shack's leaky roof, Alara sat on the cot, staring at the rusty key she'd found taped under the table. It didn't fit the door or any lock she could find. Frustration boiled over, and she hurled the key at the wall. It struck a loose plank, which popped free with a thud. Heart pounding, she crawled to the spot and peered inside. A small, metal box lay hidden in the wall, its surface etched with her name. Her hands trembled as she used the key to unlock it. Inside was a bundle of letters, yellowed with age, and a small, leather-bound journal. The letters were from her mother, written to Alara during her childhood but never sent. They spoke of love, of dreams for her future, of a strength Alara didn't know her mother saw in her. The journal, though, was something else entirely. It was her father's, filled with sketches and notes not of the mansion, but of the shack. The final entry stopped her cold. "The shack holds our heart," it read. "We built the mansion for show, but this is where we were us. If Alara finds this, she'll know. The deed is hers." Deed? Alara dug deeper into the box and found a faded document, not for the shack, but for the land beneath it. Acres of it, stretching far beyond Willow Lane, rich with untapped resources. Her parents hadn't left her scraps. They'd left her a fortune. The revelation burned through her. The mansion was a distraction, a glittering cage. The shack was the key to everything. But why hide it? Why let Marcus believe he'd won? Alara's mind raced, piecing together fragments of her parents' lives, their quiet arguments, their late-night talks about legacy. They'd wanted her to earn it, to prove her resilience. Marcus, they knew, would squander his gift without a fight. She confronted him the next day, standing in the mansion's shadow. "You got the house," she said, holding up the deed. "But I got the land. All of it." Marcus's face paled as she explained. The mansion sat on her property, its value dwarfed by the land's potential. He stammered, offering excuses, but Alara saw the truth. He'd never questioned his privilege, never looked beyond the surface. She could have claimed it all, evicted him, sold the land, and walked away rich. But as she stood there, the weight of her parents' letters in her pocket, she saw a different path. "We're family," she said, her voice steady despite the hurt. "I'll lease you the mansion, but we share the rest. Together." Marcus hesitated, then nodded, shame flickering in his eyes. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. Alara returned to the shack that night, no longer seeing it as a curse. It was her anchor, her proof that value lies not in what's given, but in what's earned. The storm had passed, and as moonlight spilled through the cracked window, she felt her parents' love in every splintered board. They'd trusted her to find the truth, and she had.